Hey guys, JV here with Level Up Gaming presenting the first episode of Playtest, a series where we share our first impressions of the newest games. This time we're playing the Tales of Berseria demo, which is out now on PlayStation 4 and Steam, and this is ahead of the game's full release on January 24th in the US and the 27th in Europe. Now before we jump into this, I want to explain my perspective. Number one, I do not play a lot of Japanese games. In fact, I play very few. I've probably fully played through a handful of Japanese games in my entire life. So a lot of the things that I run into when I play these games are a bit shocking to me. I, jump to conclusions and think, what's going on here? This doesn't make any sense. The general feeling is, what the hell is going on right now? What am I doing? Why am I doing it? And so on and so forth. So I have to kind of overcome that bias when I am trying to evaluate these games. So just keep that in mind. So what is Tales of Berseria? It is from a long-running series out of Japan. I believe I've read there's 16 games in the mainline series. So this is a serious deal, over on the Eastern Hemisphere. It's highly regarded, just a notch below Final Fantasy in terms of its prestige and how, people think about this series. Tales of Berseria is a JRPG with a focus on combat. That's actually my favorite part of what I played, so we'll talk about that in a second. But I believe the stories are not directly involved between the Tales games, so you can jump right in. But at the same time, there's a lot that was being said that I just didn't understand, wasn't explained. And that makes sense if you're jumping into a series that already had 15 games before it. In Berseria, you control Velvet, who is this scantily clad woman with a lot of hair. I mean, a lot of hair and a ponytail right at the end. Doesn't really make a lot of sense. Essentially what you're doing in this game, what I gathered from the demo, is you're walking around predetermined maps in the world, so it's not necessarily strictly open world, and then you come across enemies which puts you into an encounter, which to me reminds me of Pokemon, right? If you run into an enemy, then it kind of gives you a little cutscene, and you're in battle mode now. Like I said before, there is a heavy focus on combat and something they call the linear motion battle system, whereby you're in an encounter, but you can move around. You can move the camera around. There's lots of different abilities that you can choose from. You can move freely within a certain area. The combat I found to be really flashy and satisfying, though complex. I didn't really know what I was doing. You can switch between a cast of characters that are with you. Again, when you are walking around the world, you're only controlling Velvet, but once you go into a battle, suddenly your entire cast of characters shows up, and they all have different abilities, and you can kind of mix and match and find out what works for you. It's kind of silly. Everyone shouts their ability as they use it in combat. I personally found that hilarious. But overall, in terms of combat, I had fun, but the demo didn't really teach me what I was doing or why. I did go through the tutorial, so I was reading what was going on, but it didn't seem like I made a connection with what I need to be doing, and this button does this, but why do I need to use this in this specific situation against this specific enemy, and on and on. Again, that could be because I'm just jumping into the series, and if I knew what the combat was about and why I was pressing certain buttons, I might feel more rewarded by it. I will say again that it was satisfying. I would pull off combos and then Velvet would jump in the air, slam down, and stun enemies. That was great. That was really cool. I just felt like it could have been more rewarding if I knew what was going on. Outside of combat, you're really just kind of walking around these predetermined maps, encountering the enemies, fighting, and collecting orbs, opening chests. Some of the chests require orbs to open, and once you cash in those orbs, you collect something called a cats. I really wasn't sure what that was about. I found the way that the game presents characters to be very interesting, and I guess it kind of draws from anime and manga and all that kind of stuff, where you go into certain situations and there's a conversation and players talk to each other. You're not really interacting at all. You're kind of just witnessing this conversation, and the conversation doesn't really connect to anything in particular. Like, there was an initial conversation right when I started up the demo about how women can't be trusted. And I don't know if there's supposed to be some context to that, but all the while I'm listening to this conversation. It's about 3 minutes long, and I'm thinking, what does that to do with the plot of the game? What is going on here? I think overall, just the writing is very different, not something I was used to. And the impression that I got just by playing the game is these are some really incredibly goofy characters. Like I said, Velvet is wearing very little clothes. We got this little boy who, lives inside of another girl that's on this squad of characters. Again, this is a very long-running series, so I'm sure there's predetermined lore, but to a newcomer, that's my perspective. So that's what I bring into this. To a newcomer, it was very difficult to kind of mesh with these characters, connect with them, and understand why they're talking about what they're talking about, and what that has to do with the larger grand scheme of things within this game. So it took me about 50 total minutes to get through the entirety of the demo, and can I see people playing this game? Absolutely. I can see people playing this game and really enjoying the combat, and if you buy into the JRPG feel, if you're used to playing Final Fantasy games or any number of other Eastern games, and you learn the combat, you understand what's going on, then this quick, flashy combat, I can understand can be very satisfying. I will say, from my perspective, I think it's hard for a traditionally Western gamer to get into something like Tales of Berseria, but that's fine. You know, there's no reason that I have to get it. This is just another expression of art, and I'm sure on the other side of things, a lot of Eastern gamers probably don't get Western games, right? You know, the Call of Duties, the shooters, all of that stuff. So for me, it was hard to get into, but I can totally understand other people enjoying the experience. And actually, overall, I thought it was a breath of fresh air compared to a lot of the games that I'm used to playing. So that's really it. Again, this was a short demo. For this series, I plan on playing like the first 20% of a game and then sharing my thoughts here on the channel. So once I'm able to get review codes and stuff like that, this is the kind of content that you can expect from me. This is kind of a special case, and these videos should be usually over 10 minutes long. But I'd like to hear from you all after watching this video. Are you interested in Tales of Berseria? Is this a game you're going to pick up? Is this like a lot of games you played, or is this way out of your comfort zone? Let me know what you guys are thinking in the comment section below. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for constant updates on when we're uploading new content. Check out our website at Level Up GMG, where you'll find complete libraries of every single video we upload moving into the future. Also, if you're feeling generous, consider supporting us further through our Patreon. Becoming a patron allows you to engage with us directly and unlock exclusive content like monthly Q&A videos. So visit our Patreon if you'd like to learn more. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and click subscribe if you haven't already for more tips and tricks and gaming related videos. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time here on Level Up Gaming.